Well, first of all, hello everyone. It's been a little while since I've seen you. I hope you're enjoying your summer. The purpose of this video is to do a few things to introduce you to your summer reading assignment and what you need to be doing. Also, I wanted to introduce you to a website that I'm putting together for our class to hopefully make things easier. But first things first, let me talk to you a little bit about red, white, and black. And I also want to explain to you how the book is meant to introduce some of the major themes of AP US history. These themes are going to come back to us all year. So even though red, white, and black is only relating to early periods of history, these themes are going to come back to us time and time again, and you need to know these themes to do well on the test. So without further ado, if you have not already bought the book, please do so. It's in many editions, so if the cover doesn't look like this, don't worry. I've found that you can totally get it used. You can get it on this website called half.com. Half is in one half of something. It's owned by eBay. It sells used textbooks. Definitely check it out. If you have questions, just ask me and I'll try to get you a good used copy. Either that or get it from the library and just don't write in it. But anyway, you know how to get the books, hopefully. It's 2015, you should know. So here are the themes of AP US history. This is the order with which the College Board presents them. I'm also going to show you another way to learn them through an acronym, which is probably easier. So these are the major themes of AP US history as the College Board has outlined them. Okay, so identity, work exchange technology, peopling, politics and power, America and the world, environment and geography, and ideas, beliefs, and culture. Notice that all of them have abbreviations. You don't need to memorize these, but occasionally in work exercises, maybe in your review books, these abbreviations might show up. So it might be a good idea to be somewhat familiar with them, but they're fairly straightforward and they're kind of obvious. You know, that WOR means America and the world. Hopefully you can learn them pretty quickly. What is easier, I think, is to learn things through an acronym. So other AP US history teachers have come up with this bagpipe acronym, which I think is really super helpful. So notice that it rearranges the order of the themes, but no worries. It doesn't matter the order. It's not like they're chronological or anything. So notice, I put the College Board abbreviations in parentheses here so you know how they match up. But bagpipe, right? There you go. We're going to learn it. If you don't remember it over the summer, no worries, but in a lot of major essay questions where you have to come up with many ideas and put them together, you should always be thinking bagpipe to yourself and outlining it, coming up with ideas, specific examples that highlight each of these ideas. There are a lot of themes, so it's going to be harder than European history because there's more themes that you have to know and be comfortable with analyzing. But I know that you're up to the task. Let's go into some of these in more detail. Okay, so beliefs, the first one. I'm not going to give you examples of all of these because you guys are smart, you know. But notice that beliefs is a very cultural theme. But also, of course, you could say that as far as ideologies are concerned, they overlap with some of the other themes. You can have an ideology that's political in nature, right? You can have an ideology that is economic in nature, like capitalism, communism, socialism. But at the same time, notice that the beliefs theme concentrates mostly on ideas that are cultural. But again, there are some that you could certainly say overlap. We'll talk about the identity theme in a minute. And notice I would say that morality, moral values, ideals, these are things that also have to do with the identity theme. But again, they overlap. History is complex. You can't always quantify them in such black and white categories. Okay, I just realized my face is blocking this little image, but all it is just a cutesy little thing that says how the world sees America. The next theme, the A in bagpipe, is America and the world. Okay, notice that there are a lot of ideas that relate to this. Okay, I'll give you a second to look them over. So this one is much more relevant to, in a lot of ways, how the outside world interacts with the United States, but also, of course, the other way around, how the United States works with the outside world. And you might think at first that this is more of a 20th century theme because in a lot of ways the United States remains isolated until the World Wars, but that's not the case because you can see, hopefully, if you started Red, White, and Black, that the United States interacts with outside countries throughout its history. This even counts for the colonial period, of course, or even in some ways you could extend to the pre-Columbian periods, or certainly just the Columbian periods themselves, to think about how the people that are living and settling in the Americas are relating towards the mother countries in Europe, and so on. Okay, next one's geography and the environment. So again, I'll give you just a second to look over this. And of course, these theories, or these themes, these sub-themes here, correspond to all periods of history. It's very, very, of course, significant to realize the connection to the economy here. Think about how when something, when maybe man interacts with the environment and there is a negative repercussion, how that can affect some of the other themes like the economy or the political structure, for example. For example, when we get into the Great Depression, we'll talk about this period called the Dust Bowl. And ultimately, the economy was already doing very poorly in a lot of ways in the 1920s, but people just didn't realize it. It was really just affecting the agricultural sector. And when the Dust Bowl occurred and a large amount of farmland literally dried up, this will have huge ramifications not only on the economy, now that I'm thinking about it, also on the peopling category, because many people left the areas that they lived in because they couldn't farm anymore and they moved to places like California. So again, I know I sound like a broken record, but the idea is that these themes are wonderful to help you organize your thoughts, but when you get into the real complex details, you always can find a way that a detail within one theme actually can connect to one or maybe many other themes in this bagpipe acronym. Okay, peopling. Again, I'll give you just a second. Notice that in a lot of ways, the peopling category relates to migration, right? What happens when someone moves to and from the United States? It is not just in and out of the United States. We're also going to talk about migrations where people actually aren't leaving the country, but they're moving to a different region. We could even talk about patterns of white flight during the desegregation era. That's peopling, that's migration. Of course, after the Civil War, emancipated slaves, many of them ended up leaving the South and populating new parts of the country. All of these things, of course, have to do with peopling. Again, you can see an overlap to some of the other categories. For example, you could think about how migration also impacts the identity category, which we'll get to in just a second, right? How people kind of culturally or ethnically form communities as a result of migration. And here we are with identity, speaking of. I think this is pretty straightforward, so I'm going to skip to the next one. Sorry that the font is a little bit small, but there are a lot of themes in politics and power. I'll give you a little bit to read this. In the interest of time, I'm going to move on. We're going to talk about these a lot when we start in class in the fall. Again, economy is pretty big. Sorry, I'm blocking right this little section right here. It says economic ideologies, capitalism, free markets, communism, and socialism. Okay, so the real question you're probably asking at this point is, what am I supposed to be doing with all of this? Okay, a couple of things. First off, what you should do as you read is follow these reading guide questions. Now, I'm not going to be collecting these at the beginning of the year. I'm not going to sort of babysit you. I think you're beyond that. Really, these questions are for you. The idea is, as you read, to just try to get your head around what's important. This read can come across as a little bit dense and academic, but I know you can handle it, you might want to actually look at the questions before you read a given section so that you really know what to be looking out for. So you might say, well, how can I copy a link from YouTube? You can't. So in a second, I'm going to show you where you can get at this link actually from our class website. There are questions here. This first category, all you want to do with these questions is just answer them as you read. You can do them very informally because, again, I'm not going to be checking them. But this is what you're actually going to be handing in to me. And again, I'm going to show you this in just a second. Okay? And the way I'm going to show it to you is by taking you to our website that is still very much under construction, so forgive me. But what I'm doing is I'm putting together a website that hopefully will help us kind of consolidate all the information that we're going to need to succeed in this course throughout the year. Apologies, my computer's a little bit slow right now, so it'll just take a second. But notice, I'll give you the link at the beginning of the year, but it's apushsuttonjhsct.weebly.com. Okay, and if you're at the website, there's a special tab for summer reading. If you click on that, all that it has right now, by the time you get to the site, actually this video should be here as well. But all you have right now are 2 links, all right? Go to this. Again, these questions are meant to just guide you. It should link you right to a Google Drive document that has the questions listed. I'm not going to bother going through them, but these are the questions that you need to be looking at while you're reading. And of course, even more importantly, I hope I didn't lose that. Here we go. What I'll try to do is make it so that it opens in a new window so you don't lose access to the course site. Now here's the assignment. Okay, so I already outlined some of the major themes. The idea is that at the beginning of the year, you need to be able to actually find examples from the Red, White, and Black book that ultimately are connecting some of these major themes of U.S. history to the reading. Okay, so again, these questions are rather open-ended, and I don't want you to write like one big long paper. What I want you to do is answer each of these questions separately. You really only need to do 1 paragraph per question, so this isn't meant to be an overarchingly challenging, tough assignment. I think reading the book itself is going to be rather challenging because it is, again, a little bit dense, but I think you will find it really interesting if you just give it a chance. So that's basically the outline of what you need to be doing this summer. I am around until August 8th, and then I'm going to be out of the country for about 2 weeks and probably not answering emails. But by all means, please be in touch with me if you're confused about anything, if you have trouble with the website. Again, please remember that the website is under construction, so if there's any problem with the link, just be patient. Hopefully I'll be able to fix it in a couple of days, if not that same day. But I'm also moving, so it's just a little busy, so just bear with me. But my hope is that this website is going to make it a lot easier for us to have all of our stuff in the same spot. Of course, I'll still be using Jupyter for homework assignments, but the website is meant to be sort of a supplementary tool to help us stay organized. So with that said, I really, again, hope you're enjoying your summer. Not to be a nag, but please get started with this assignment early. You really don't want your last week of summer vacation to be you scrambling to get the stuff finished. And I guess that's about it. So enjoy your summer, and I will see you in the fall.